Hello, family. Welcome back to another episode of Journey to Harmony. I'm your host, Richard Harmon. On today's episode, I want to come to you and to discuss some of the reasons why I moved out of Atlanta. I lived in Atlanta off and on for about 5 years, beginning in 2009. At the time, I was a young man. I think I was like I was however age I was. But yeah, I was at the time I was looking um, for guidance. I was looking for excitement. I was looking for a chance to get to know myself as a young man. And the place was amazing at the time. You know what I mean? I showed up. I had been living in some not the cities where I was in the Northeast. And when I moved to Atlanta, it was great to see so many black people just doing well. People were driving cars I'd never seen before. People were living in decent homes and different things like that. So it drew me to the area really well. I lived there for about 5 years off and on. So with that, I'd been able to learn more about myself. I'd been able to see the kind of man that I wanted to be, and then I was able to move on to where it is that I was going to go. So today I'm gonna give you about four reasons of why I moved out of Atlanta. The number one reason, first and foremost, if you have lived in Atlanta, is the traffic. Traffic is terrible most parts of the day, whether it's in the morning, whether it's in the afternoons. Other places will have traffic will be about 30 to 40 miles per hour. In Atlanta, when you hit traffic, it stands still. You're sitting still for 10 or 15, 20 minutes at a time, just waiting for the log jam to clear up. Yeah, Atlanta has one big highway for the most part that goes from north to south. I-85 south, north, whatever it is you want to call it, right around Spaghetti Junction, things like that. And all of the people in Atlanta basically have to get on this highway if you're going from, Gwinnett County down to DeKalb or something like that. So it's a whole lot of traffic. You get on, and you realize that okay, my next 20 minutes of my life, half an hour, 45 minutes is going to be spent just sitting in traffic. So because of that, that's one of the things that contributed to the decision of me leaving. Number two, why does I left Atlanta was the job opportunity. So while I was working there was a lot of factory opportunities and different things like that. A bunch of people told me as I was moving there that things are cheaper, but at the same time, they're not going to pay you what you would get in other places. And while the time that I spent there was great, I did come to realize that this was true. We'd be working at places and be making about $10 or $12 per hour. If you were making $16 an hour, you were considered a boss at that particular time frame. And those who were making $20 or $25 an hour were basically rich in our minds. But we came to realize that there were a lot of other things that were available. And as you're looking to start a family, as you're looking to grow yourself, you're realizing that that's not the way for sure of how you would want to grow. So that's one of the things that contributed to me moving out of Atlanta. And it looks to be a lot of the same right now. And a lot of people who still live there who are still not doing great. There's so many different people, and there's so few companies that are paying that it's a struggle overall to get yourself into a good high paying position. The third reason why I moved out of Atlanta would have to be my marriage. So at the time, I was getting ready to get engaged, and it was a decision on whether or not we would live in Minnesota or whether we would live in Atlanta. And at the time, I was working, and I went online to Indeed, and I saw the comparable jobs for what I was doing, and getting paid $10 or $12 more on average for the same exact position. And it was every single job was paying just significantly more than what was being offered in Atlanta. So I looked at it, I was like, you know what, it might be a better opportunity. Although it's cold up there, there's still different ways on how we can build in a different location. With everyone desiring to come to Atlanta for the most part, you want to go sometimes where people are not in order to find opportunities where you can't normally find them. So we ended up moving to Minnesota. I've been here for some time and things have been great. The opportunities have been amazing. So that's the third reason why I moved to Atlanta. All right. So for the fourth and final reason why I moved out of Atlanta was have to do with the price of housing. So even in 2016, I moved out in 2016. I was realizing that the cost of living was starting to get outrageous. So they were building these really nice apartments, but they were beginning to be one bedroom apartments for $1,600, $1,700, and I was like, you know, that making 12, 13, $15 an hour and living in a place like this is not going to be ideal. And I started thinking and projecting ahead. What was that going to look like? So I thought to myself, I'm like, you know what, this is maybe a wise decision to get up and to move. For the longest time, how homes in Atlanta were so cheap. You can buy someone something in the metro area for like 200,000, and it'd be a huge house compared to where it is you can get other places around the country. But realizing again that the cost of living and the income that was there were not going to be sustainable. So I ended up moving, and things have just become significantly worse since that particular time frame. So it's been an interesting process. The space that I have moved into in Minnesota is it's great. I like the opportunity, give me a chance to learn and to grow. I really appreciate Atlanta and Georgia overall for the chance of giving me to grow up as a man. I still have a lot of family and friends that live there. I love visiting to go and see the city, the Weston, and the different opportunities, whether it's you're in Uptown or you're at Midtown. There are a lot of different great opportunities of just hanging out, seeing the city, being able to embrace some of the things that are available to you. But at this particular time frame, I don't think it's a great option for myself, and for many other people. There's also, whether it's a deciding factor, whether it's not, it's to stay. Since that time frame, there's been a lot of companies have come in and bought housing that have raised the prices up. There are people who have moved from all different parts of the country, and things have gone astray a bit. But what are your thoughts on this? Please comment below, like, share, and subscribe. Thank you so much for joining. Have a good day.